Hello, everyone, and welcome here to Superpowered Pop. Dan Tortora, of course, and I'm here with Michael Chiklis. Michael, how are you?
I'm great, Dan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Pleasure.
you, too. Well, I said that, what you were talking about yesterday in the panel just really struck me about speaking on life, being happy to be a father, a grandfather, and just what you can say about, kind of the man behind the music, behind the movies, so to speak, and who you are.
Well, I'm those things before I'm an actor. When I was young, and this is really natural for young people, when you're all aspiration and you're really about yourself and your career. It's natural and normal to be that way. But honestly, once I met my wife and we got married and we started to have our children and grow our family, acting in my career, it's down like 7th, 10th, to, my family, my friends, my larger circle of friends, to philanthropy, there's a lot of things that are, I think, that are far more valuable and important to your life. And that's not to say I don't love my career. I love my career. I love acting. I love my music. But I found you'll live a much more fulfilled life and a happier life if these other things that are much more important to your real life are prioritized.
And when you have those relationships that you speak about and those being more important, you can see with Johan that you definitely have that relationship and that connection.
Yeah,
And it's not just Mr. Fantastic and the thing. So how has that evolved over time that Marvel's first family is a family off the air?
Well, listen, you don't expect that with, I've worked with a lot of actors and a lot of people, and some, I have wonderful relationships across the board, but most of them are more acquaintances. They're people that you've worked with, that you shared a sort of an intense period of time with, and then you move on your way. There are many actors that, it's such an interesting profession because, every time you're out of work, you're out of work. The show ends, you're out of work. You're looking for the next job, right? And if you're lucky, you've booked the next job before that show ends, right? So, but it's up and down in this way, and you have to maintain a sort of equilibrium in spite of that, right? So, there are actors that I've worked once with and never saw again in my life. There are other actors like Paul Ben Victor who I've worked with 8 times through the course of 35 years. And he's a dear friend of mine, and to this day. Some people stick and some people don't. I think it's just like any other thing, in any other profession and any other thing in life. Some people you meet, you like them, but they're not your besties, they're not your friends that you're calling and spending substantive time with. So that's just life.
And when you look at those that you have spent time with, I want to really get into the Fantastic Four and what that was, because you gave such a unique background to it, of the fact of the CGI and everything you could do now, but you had to put on all these layers and really become the thing.
Well, it was important to me to have the costume, because the whole thing with Ben is he's a man that's trapped in a body he can't get out of, right? And the fact that was a horribly uncomfortable body that I was trapped in, it just fed into playing the character. Not that I'm a method actor, but I've employed that tool sometimes. And let's face it, being trapped in a costume that I literally could not get out of, only fed into playing this role, and it created tremendous pathos, I thought, in the portrayal of the character. And that's what I wanted. I wanted people to feel for him,
To do something like that again, if they asked you, like, hey, maybe not necessarily to get back into all that, but...
Well, I never say never. Look, it would depend on certain things. The what, really it starts on the page. Anything that you do, your first thought should be, what is it? And then who's doing it? And then how much? In that order.
Well, my dad started watching you on the Commish, and obviously we know you from The Shield and as well as Fantastic Four. And so when you look through your career and everything that you've done, what can you say has been your superpower, so to speak, through it all?
I don't have any superpowers. I'm just a guy, honestly, and that's not just false modesty. Really, I'm just a person. But if I have any qualities that have been attributes, I would say I'm curious. I'm super curious always. I'm perseverant.
Yeah.
You have to be, I think in life, but in this business especially, you can't give up. You have to and you have to be able to make like a duck, like let it just roll off your shoulders. You can't, like a lot of, I understand we're empaths as actors, but there's this strange dichotomy where you have to have like this tough outer shell and be all gooey inside. Meaning like when you're on set and between action and cut, you have to be completely available and honest in there, right? But out in the world, you have to have a bit of a shell. You have to, people are tweeting horrible things at you, like you can't believe some of the vitriol. And I'm not, like people, I don't know you. I don't like saying things that I wouldn't say to an enemy, and you're like, wow, holy shit, where's that coming from that you would say something that vitriolic, like go kill yourself? Whoa, what? Like, really, who raised you? Like, what are you thinking? Like, go see someone. Lay down on a couch and talk that out, because you should not have hate like that in your heart for anybody, never mind someone you don't even know, especially about a portrayal. Wow, like, figure that out, but we live in a world now where anyone with a thumbs can, say whatever they want to you and be as hateful and vitriolic as they want. And I feel for those people, but you have to have a tough skin and just let that roll off your shoulders like a duck. Like my father would say, make like a duck. Let that water roll right off your shoulders and just keep going. Persevere. That's definitely been a superpower of mine.
Yeah, well, you talk about having the thick skin, and you definitely had it with the thing. So, just in the last note, I know you've done it before, but you did it so well. Can I ask for that phrase of yours one more time?
It's clobbering time.
Michael Chiklis, thank you, sir.
Cheers.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
your time.
Cheers. Nice, Dad.